Hi, this is Derek Tsai from LearnByBlogging.com. I will be reviewing this book called The Devil in the White City by Erik Larson. And this is an incredibly interesting book, very thick, and I listened to the audiobook. The book, there are two main characters in this beautifully written book. The Devil in the White City by Erik Larson. The first character is Henry H. Holmes, a physician, a good liar, but mostly a cold-blooded psychopath murderer. And on the opposite side is a character by the name of Daniel Burnham, a master architect that orchestrated the building of many beautiful architectural wonders in the World Fair of Chicago in 1893. So the whole story took place in the late 19th century. Keep in mind those days there's very no electricity, and there's no auto. The car wasn't quite invented yet, and there are many a lot of things that are just not as modern as we have today. So the connection between the two characters are not very strong, other than they happen to live in the same proximity in the same neighborhood during the fair. It's a good book for people curious about how the world's Columbian Exposition, and this is the official name of that expo, to celebrate the 400 years of Columbia's the discovery of Columbus. The discovery of the America by Columbus. Nowadays, of course, we don't celebrate it as much because we know he didn't discover it. The Indians were here already. So, of course, you get to know about the two main characters of the book. If you're curious about this expo, it will be the beginning and the end, and the people who architected and the politicians who made it happen. Interesting stories. Of course, you get to know about the two main characters in the book, H. Holmes and Daniel Burnham. Very well researched and written. Always enjoy Erik Larson's book. I read his previous book, The Wave. Pretty interesting. 10 things you need to know about the book about Henry Holmes, or the H. Holmes. He was charming, handsome, with beautiful set of blue eyes, so seductive to innocent young women. He could come up with many impressive lies, like his names, like thinking like he was connected to a certain. He would keep using different aliases, and he would say that he was connected to didn't want to use his official name because of his loyal connection in British or in Europe or somewhere. He was wealthy, mostly borrowed money from other people, and cheating the insurance company by there's a lot of fraud that happened. And then he used his position, being a physician or doctor, and he's carrying a very benign demeanor. It's a very deadly composition of a serial killer. Number 2 is that he's a master at turning attack around. As a master of Aikido, if you think about it, when confronted with his fraud or lies, he responds in gentle and good counter lies that seem to make the accuser apologetic. So, what's worse than having the accuser apologize to you. So it's very good. Number 3 is that he leaves very little evidence by the old standards. Of course, nowadays with the forensic medicine, evidence, you can find just about anything. But those days, he's very good adept at destroying the evidence. He has a custom gas chamber or vault and a crematorium in the basement that allow him to murder and get rid of the bodies without incurring too much notice from other people. And during that era, there's a run of for dead body for medical research. So he was able to articulate, basically rip off the skin and sell the body or the skeleton to the highest bidder, and then people use that as cadaver or something. Perfect environment for a serial murderer. Number 4 is that he used very little force. His modulus, his MO, is mostly through trapping the person in the chamber or vault and then inject some kind of chloroform to kill that person and basically gas them to death without too much struggle or too much force from him. And I think he enjoy the Sigmite really enjoy seeing people in the dying process. Number 5, it takes advantage of the environmental factor. Lots of visitors were going in and out of the world fairs. Police officers were too busy handle missing people cases, and then he lived in the area where an era where the cadavers were difficult to acquire, as I just mentioned, and body can be easily stolen, articulated, remove the skin, and then acquire without too much scrutiny. Those days, you can just nobody will ask the question where you get the body from. Number 6, he has help. Very hard for him to do that as an individual. And Pitazol, who was his main helper, who helped him articulate the bodies. He and his children eventually got murdered by him, and ironically, he actually was convicted of the crime of killing the whole family. Number 7 is that he got braver and braver when he's not caught with the murder one after another, and like a psychopath, he's getting more brave, and eventually killed a lot more people. He never admitted to any crime, but eventually equating himself to a devil as he saw himself physically evolving into one. Number 9 is that Henry Holmes was finally executed by hanging in 1896 after murdering confirmed 9, confessed 27, and up to 200 estimated. That might be exaggerated, but started as early as 1888. So it's got a good 7-8 years of killing those days since it started. Number 10 is that he's really a devil. Even though he thought to himself, I was born with the devil in me, that's a direct quote, I could not help the fact that I was a murderer, no more than the poet can help the inspiration to sing. I was born with the evil one standing as my sponsor beside the bed where I was ushered into the world, and he has been with me since. Pretty hair-raising quote. Now there are 5 things you can learn about Burnham. Daniel Burnham. He organized and successfully completed the entire World Fair or World Expo of 1893 with just 2 short years. Despite his poor health, the team had overcome a significant setback like a poor soil quality, political influences to bias the designs, etc. So they have to stand. He had to stand very tall to confront them and overcome those difficulties. Number 2 is that he knows how to hire the best people for the job. Frederick Olmsted for the landscaping, John Root, his partner, to architect the entire ground. And when Root died in the middle of the construction, he had to pick up the entire chief architect work. So that was pretty amazing. Burnham was indicted when one of the buildings caught fire. Ironically, the attendants actually picked up after the fire, which seemed to draw a lot of onlookers and help pay for the exhibit or the expo. Number 4, despite the artistical success of the World Fair buildings, the financials were not too good, and Burnham had to face many inquiries and restrictions toward the end of the expo, as the warfare didn't make enough money to pay for itself. Number 5, Burnham fostered an early thinking of an eco-responsible architecture. He was concerned about waste, building waste, materials, etc. So he's a very early thinker, 100 years maybe ahead of his time. So overall, it's a very nice read, very excellent read, and a little bit mystery, a little bit of architecture, histories, and just so many things that you can get out of the book. Totally enjoy it, and I hope you enjoy this review as well. I'll see you next time. Bye now.